Welcome to today's transformation dive. Ever feel that little flicker of panic, that gut clench, right before you tap open your banking app? Like you're about to step onto a financial battlefield you didn't sign up for. It's weird, right? It's just numbers on a screen. It's not a pop quiz on advanced calculus. Just your own money situation. Yet, for so many of us, it feels less like a simple check-in and more like facing a monster under the bed. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. And hey, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Sharing helps us all grow. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You open your banking app and flinch. You've been avoiding it. Maybe for a day, maybe for a week, maybe longer. That knot in your stomach, that feeling of dread or shame or just plain overwhelm, that's not just about the numbers on the screen. It's about the story those numbers tell you and the feelings those stories bring up. For the broke beginner, that small, dwindling number often feels like a harsh verdict. You're failing. Every transaction feels like another nail in the coffin of financial hope. For the growing earner, who sees more money coming in but just as quickly going out, it might feel like a betrayal. Where is it all going? It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom, frustrating and confusing. And for the ambitious builder, diligently saving and investing, it might feel like impatient frustration. Why isn't it growing faster? Watching the market dip or progress crawl can feel like running in place. We tell ourselves money problems are purely logical. If I just earned more, if I just cut expenses. And sure, those things matter, massively. It's like saying if you want to get fit, you just need to eat less and move more. True, but not the whole story. If financial success were purely a math problem, everyone with a decent income would be financially free, following a perfect spreadsheet, and everyone struggling would instantly fix things by simply downloading a budget app. You know that's not true. How many budget apps have you downloaded only to have them gather digital dust? The real battle often isn't fought on the spreadsheet or in your calculator. It's waged in your head and in your gut. The big myth we need to bust right now is that managing money is purely a math problem. The often ignored reality, it's an emotional and behavioral one first. You don't react to money based only on cold, hard logic. You react based on fear when expenses are due, desire when you see something you want, comparison when you scroll social media, stress when bills pile up, or excitement when a bonus hits. Until you understand and learn to manage those deep-seated reactions, you'll always be fighting an uphill battle, regardless of how much you earn or how tightly you try to budget. The core concept here, the fundamental shift that impacts everything, is recognizing that your relationship with money is precisely that, a relationship. And like any relationship, it's built on communication, trust, and managing emotions, not just transactions. A surprising fact for many is how physically real these money emotions are. That knot in your stomach? It's your body reacting to the perceived threat or stress related to your financial situation. This one habit changed everything for me. I started noticing how I felt when I dealt with money, rather than just focusing on the numbers. Did opening the bill feel heavy? Did clicking buy feel like a rush followed by guilt? This awareness is the first step in taking control. Here's a prompt for reflection and action. Try this for a week. Every time you think about money, spend money, check your balance, or pay a bill, pause for 10 seconds. Ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Don't judge it, just notice. Is it fear, excitement, shame, indifference? By connecting the action or inaction with the emotion, you start to uncover the hidden drivers of your financial behavior. This isn't just navel-gazing. It's gathering crucial intelligence for the real battle ahead. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive. So, you've probably been told that managing money is all about spreadsheets, budgets, and sticking to a plan like a disciplined monk. And yes, those things are important. But here's the bold, often overlooked truth, the core principle we're tackling right now. Your relationship with money is deeply, fundamentally emotional. It's not just logical. Think about your own life or the lives of people you know. Why do people impulse buy that gadget they don't need 5 minutes after swearing they'd save? Emotions. Why do people dread opening their banking app, avoiding the numbers like a scary movie villain? Emotions. Why do people scroll through social media, see someone else's highlights reel, and feel that pang of comparison and inadequacy that suddenly makes swiping the credit card seem like the only way to feel better? Emotions. We aren't purely rational financial robots, no matter how much the personal finance gurus wish we were. And honestly, thank goodness. Life would be boring if we were just calculating machines. Behavioral finance isn't just a fancy academic term. It's the field that confirms what you instinctively know. Our brains are wired with biases, fears, desires, and even simple feelings like boredom or excitement that often completely override purely logical financial decisions. You see that sleek new phone, and your brain doesn't just calculate the cost-benefit analysis. It registers shiny, new, status, excitement, and a surge of "I deserve this" after a particularly rough day at work. That feeling isn't a flaw. It's just part of being human. It's an emotional trigger leading directly to a financial action. Or maybe you saw a friend posting from a dreamy vacation spot, and a wave of envy hit you, making you book that trip you couldn't really afford because you felt like you were missing out. Bored? Stressed? Shopping offers a temporary distraction, a little hit of dopamine. See the pattern? Here's a surprising insight, and it challenges a common myth that you should just tough it out and ignore your feelings. Your financial life is often a surprisingly accurate reflection of your emotional life. Trying to fix your money problems without looking at how money makes you feel is like trying to bake a cake using only half the ingredients. You're ignoring a massive, often controlling part of the equation. People often underestimate the power of these underlying feelings. They focus purely on the numbers, get frustrated when they can't stick to the plan, and then blame themselves for lacking discipline, when the real culprit is an unaddressed emotional pattern. It's not about being bad with money. It's about having an emotional relationship with money that needs understanding, not suppression. It's not a weakness. It's your human operating system. The key isn't to become a cold, calculating machine, devoid of feeling. That's not possible or desirable. The key is to become aware of these emotional patterns, to notice the feeling before the action. This isn't about judgment. It's about observation. Think of it like learning to recognize the signs of hunger before you ravenously devour everything in sight, instead of trying to white-knuckle your way through starvation. So here's the simple but profound action for you right now. Try this for a week. Start observing how money makes you feel in different situations. When you spend, what emotion is behind it? When you think about your bills, what feeling arises? When you see something expensive you want, what's the initial gut reaction? Just notice, no judgment. This one habit of simple, conscious observation can change everything, giving you clarity on the emotional drivers of your financial decisions. It's the first step to taking the wheel back from your automatic emotional pilot. Now, while understanding your money story and setting clear intentions is powerful, there's one sneaky, silent saboteur that trips up almost everyone on the path to financial freedom: the avoidance trap. You know this feeling, don't you? It's that cringe you get when an envelope with a bank logo lands in your mailbox. It's the unopened bills piling up on the counter like a tiny, passive-aggressive mountain range. It's the banking app icon you strategically bury 3 screens deep on your phone so you don't accidentally tap it. And it's definitely the budget you enthusiastically started on Monday and completely forgot existed by Wednesday afternoon. This isn't just procrastination. It's a full-blown emotional response to money, rooted deeply in fear. Why do we do this? It almost always boils down to fear. Fear of judgment, both from ourselves. How could I be so stupid with money? And potentially others, if anyone were to see behind the curtain. Fear of what we might actually find. Maybe it's less money than we hoped was there, or far more debt than we dared to calculate. There's the fear of feeling completely out of control, overwhelmed by numbers that feel too big or problems that feel too complex. It's just easier to not look. Like closing your eyes during the scary part of a movie, right? Except the monster doesn't disappear just because you don't see it. Think about the classic examples: the beginner who gets their first credit card bill and, instead of facing it, shoves it into a drawer, hoping it might evaporate. Spoiler, it doesn't. It just gets friendlier with late fees. Or the person who's finally earning decent money, but knows deep down they're spending it just as fast, so they avoid the banking app like it's got the plague, because confronting the damage feels too painful. Then there's the ambitious entrepreneur, the builder, so focused on the next big deal, the next growth spurt, they totally neglect tracking expenses, just assuming it'll all work out. Because hey, revenue is increasing, but they're bleeding cash in hidden ways. The brutal truth is this: what you avoid controls you. Avoiding your finances doesn't make the problems go away. It just guarantees they fester and get worse behind your back, often compounding like interest on avoided debt. Here's the surprising insight that might shift your perspective. Avoidance isn't passive. It's an incredibly active decision. It's a deliberate choice, moment by moment, to stay disempowered. Every time you look away, you reinforce the fear and hand over more control to your circumstances. You are actively deciding to let the unopened bills dictate your stress levels, or let the unknown bank balance keep you up at night. The moment you stop avoiding and start looking, you reclaim a piece of that power. It's not about instantly fixing everything. It's about facing the reality, messy as it might be, so you can actually do something about it. So, what's the clear action? It sounds almost ridiculously simple, but that's the point. Try this for a week. Set a daily reminder on your phone, just for 7 days. The reminder says, "Check my bank balance." It takes 30 seconds, maybe less. Just look. Don't judge the number you see. Don't berate yourself. Just observe the numbers. And yes, pay attention to how seeing those numbers makes you feel. That acknowledgement is the first step out of the trap. Now, let's talk about something that whispers insidious lies into your financial ear, and that's comparison. You know the feeling. You're scrolling through social media, catching up with friends, or just looking around at your colleagues, and suddenly your own financial situation feels well, it just feels inadequate. Someone just bought a shiny new car. That friend's vacation photos look like they belong in a travel magazine. And another peer seems to effortlessly afford spontaneous dinners out and designer everything. Comparison, at its core, is a deeply emotional response. It's often rooted in insecurity, tinged with envy, and fueled by seeing what others appear to have. It whispers those toxic lies. You're not doing enough. You're falling behind. You need to have that too to be happy, successful, or even worthy. Think about it. Maybe you're a beginner on your financial journey, carefully budgeting, and you're out with friends who are buying rounds of drinks without a second thought. Saying no feels cheap, maybe even embarrassing. Or you're a growing earner, finally able to afford a reliable, sensible car, only to feel a pang of inadequacy when a peer rolls up in a luxury SUV. Maybe I should upgrade, that little voice starts. Even the ambitious builder, diligently growing their investment portfolio, can fall prey, comparing their steady progress to the viral highlight reels of self-proclaimed gurus showing impossible gains, leaving you feeling like you're failing. But here's the surprising, liberating truth. And this is a huge myth bust. People almost only show you what they want you to see. That luxury car might be leased with crippling payments hanging over their head. That exotic vacation, possibly funded by credit card debt that will take months, maybe years to pay off. When you engage in comparison, you are essentially comparing your messy, real, everyday financial life with all its struggles, its budget lines, its deliberate sacrifices, to someone else's carefully curated, airbrushed highlight reel. It's a rigged game, and you are guaranteed to lose if you keep playing it. The cause and effect here is direct and damaging. Comparison breeds discontent. Discontent breeds insecurity, and insecurity can drive poor financial decisions, trying to keep up, spending money you don't have, taking on debt just to project an image that isn't even real. It pulls you away from your own goals and onto a hamster wheel chasing someone else's projected success. So what's the action? How do you combat this financial poison? First, become aware of your comparison triggers. Who or what specific people, platforms, looking at you, Instagram, or situations make you feel this way? Identify them. Then, consciously limit your exposure to these triggers when you feel vulnerable. It doesn't mean cutting people off, but perhaps muting certain feeds or recognizing the feeling for what it is and closing the app. Here's a powerful prompt for action, something you can try right now. For the next week, every single time you feel that familiar pang of comparison, immediately pause, take a breath. Then, name 3 specific financial things you are genuinely grateful for in your own life right at this moment. Maybe it's the security of your emergency fund, the progress you've made on debt, the simple fact that you have a roof over your head, or the discipline you've built. Shift your focus from what you lack relative to someone else to what you have built and achieved on your own path. This one habit changed everything for me in silencing that noisy, comparison-fueled voice. It's not about pretending everything is perfect, but about grounding yourself in your own reality and progress. Because your journey is unique and worth celebrating on its own terms. Impulse. Buying your feelings. You know that feeling, right? The one that hits after a rough day, or maybe when you're just scrolling endlessly on a quiet Sunday afternoon. stress, boredom, sadness, even the high of excitement from a win. They can all feel like a physical nudge, triggering that potent urge to spend. It's like your emotions are whispering, "Go on, you deserve it," or maybe, "This will make it better." That quick hit of dopamine when you click buy or swipe your card feels undeniably good in the moment. It's a temporary distraction, a fleeting reward, a little spark of joy or relief. It's understandable why we chase it. In a complex world, that immediate gratification is powerful. But here's the truth bomb. It's precisely this emotional spending, this habit of buying your feelings, that quietly erodes budgets, sabotages savings goals, and ultimately prevents true wealth building. And it doesn't matter how much money you make. You could have a six-figure salary, but if you're constantly leaking cash through unplanned purchases fueled by your mood, you're stuck in a cycle that limits your financial freedom. It's the classic treat-yourself mentality amplified, often fueled by emotions you haven't fully processed or understood. Think about it. Maybe you had a truly terrible day at work and ordered expensive takeout you didn't plan for, costing twice what cooking at home would have. Maybe you were bored on a Sunday afternoon and scrolled online until you found something, anything, to buy, just to fill the time. Or perhaps you closed a big deal and felt you had to celebrate with a lavish, impulsive purchase that stretched your budget thin. Here's a surprising insight that shifts the game. Emotional spending isn't really about wanting the item itself. It's often a subconscious, clumsy attempt to control or escape a difficult feeling. It's trying to put a superficial band-aid on a deeper emotional need using a credit card. The irony? While you're trying to gain control over your internal state through an external purchase, you're actually losing control over your money and your future. It's a short-term fix that creates long-term problems, leaving you less in control of both your finances and your emotional responses in the long run. People often underestimate just how much their mood dictates their wallet's fate. It's a hidden cost that far outweighs the price tag of any single item. This cycle can feel powerful, like an unstoppable force, but breaking it is simpler than you might think. The clear, actionable strategy here is about inserting a pause. The next time you feel a strong, almost irresistible urge to buy something non-essential, especially when you notice you're feeling stressed, bored, sad, or even overly excited, stop. Do not buy immediately. Don't even add it to the cart if you can help it. Instead, set a personal cooling-off period. Make it a rule for yourself. Maybe it's just 1 hour for smaller things, 12 hours, or even a full 24 hours for bigger potential purchases. Write it down or add it to a wish list, but physically step away from the point of purchase. Ask yourself, is this purchase about the item or about how I'm feeling right now? This one habit changed everything for me in identifying and stopping impulse spending. If you still genuinely want it, and it fits your budget and financial plan after the initial emotion has significantly passed and you've had time to think rationally, then fine. But you'll find, more often than not, that the intense urge completely fades away, like a wave receding from the shore, once the triggering emotion subsides. Try this for a week. Implement a mandatory cooling-off period for any non-essential purchase over a set amount, say $20. See how many potential purchases you walk away from just by introducing that pause. Your bank account is a reflection of many things. Your income, your spending habits, yes. But beneath all that, it's often a mirror to your deepest beliefs about money itself. And few beliefs are as powerful and as invisible as the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. Think of it like trying to navigate a crowded market. With a scarcity mindset, you're elbowing everyone, terrified someone else will grab the last good deal, convinced there isn't enough for everyone. This fear, this underlying belief that resources are limited and you might not get your share, manifests in surprisingly contradictory ways. On one hand, it can turn you into a financial hoarder. You clutch every penny tightly, terrified to spend, even when it makes sense. Investing feels like throwing money into a black hole. Opportunities that require an initial outlay, even if they promise huge returns, feel too risky because the fear of loss is paralyzing. It's like keeping your car in the garage forever to save gas, completely missing the point of owning a car. On the other hand, a scarcity mindset can lead to impulsive spending, a get it while I can, or what's the point, I'll never get ahead anyway attitude. You see money as something fleeting, so you might as well enjoy it now because it won't last. It's like knowing the party ends soon and just downing all the snacks at once instead of savoring them. Both extremes, hoarding or hasty spending, stem from the same root fear, not having enough. Now, flip the script. An abundance mindset isn't about pretending you're instantly rich, though wouldn't that be nice? It's about believing in possibility, growth, and that resources can be created or attracted. You're still realistic about your current situation, but your focus shifts from fear to opportunity. Instead of seeing limits, you look for solutions. See how this plays out. A beginner with a scarcity mindset might be paralyzed by fear, keeping their savings under the mattress while inflation eats away at its value. They see risk everywhere. The growing earner with a scarcity mindset might cling to a comfortable but low-ceiling job, sacrificing significant growth potential because the perceived security of enough today outweighs the possibilities of more than enough tomorrow. It's like sticking to walking everywhere because you're afraid of getting a flat tire in a faster car. Even ambitious builders aren't immune. A scarcity mindset might lead them to cut essential operational corners to save cash, ultimately hindering their ability to scale and reach their true potential. They're so focused on the pennies, they miss the dollars, pounds, or euros waiting. Here's the eye-opener, the slightly infuriating truth. A scarcity mindset can create scarcity, even when resources are available or achievable. Your fear blinds you to potential. Your hesitation makes you miss the boat. Your focus on lack actually pushes away opportunities. Conversely, an abundance mindset, which focuses on creative problem-solving, leveraging what you do have and seeing potential, can attract more resources. It's not magic, it's cause and effect. Believing there's a way forward makes you look for paths. So what's the practical step? How do you begin to rewire decades of programming? Try this for 3 days. Pay close attention to your internal monologue about money. When a financial thought pops up, analyze it. Is it dominated by phrases like, I can't afford that, there's not enough money, I'll never get ahead? Notice those scarcity thoughts without judgment initially. Then, consciously, deliberately, rephrase those scarcity thoughts into questions of possibility. Instead of, I can't afford this course, ask, how could I afford this course? Instead of, there's not enough money for my goals, ask, what steps could I take to get there? Instead of, I don't have the resources, ask, what resources do I have right now that I could leverage? This simple act of questioning scarcity shifts your brain from a state of lack to a state of searching for solutions. It's a small step, but one that begins to chip away at the foundation of financial fear. All right, let's talk about something deeply personal, something most people shy away from admitting about money. It's not just numbers on a spreadsheet or transactions in an app. Money is emotional. It stirs up feelings, comfort, security, fear, excitement, stress, even envy. And because money is so intrinsically tied to how we feel, truly mastering your finances isn't just about learning budgeting techniques or investment strategies. It's about mastering you. Specifically, it's about understanding your unique, personal emotional triggers when it comes to spending, saving, or even just looking at your bank balance. Think of it like being the detective of your own psyche, but the clues you're following lead directly to your wallet. What situations, feelings, or even people make you most likely to make a poor financial decision? What pushes you off course? Is it that looming deadline at work making you feel intensely stressed, leading you to stress shop online for instant gratification you don't need? Maybe it's the pressure to keep up when you're out with friends or scrolling through social media. That classic peer pressure pushing you to spend more than you planned or aspire to purchases far beyond your means. Or perhaps it's something quieter, like loneliness on a Saturday night, where ordering expensive takeout or browsing online stores feels like a temporary comfort against the quiet. Could it be something as simple as a sale email hitting your inbox at the wrong moment, combined with a feeling of boredom or scarcity? Awareness here is the critical first step. It's about creating that tiny bit of space, just a second or two, between the trigger and the action. It's consciously separating your immediate fleeting emotion from a potentially long-lasting money decision. You realize, okay, I'm feeling stressed, and my go-to when I'm stressed is to buy something. That realization itself is powerful. You might be just starting out, a beginner on your financial journey, and you quickly realize you always seem to overspend on Friday nights hanging out with friends, fueled by wanting to feel part of the group. Maybe you're a growing earner, building momentum, but you see a pattern of emotional spending after arguments at home, using shopping as an escape or a way to feel in control. Or you're an ambitious builder focused on big goals and investments, and you find you make impulsive, maybe even overly optimistic investments when you're feeling highly confident after a win, or intensely anxious about a potential deal falling through, hoping a quick investment will ease the tension. These aren't random occurrences. They are responses to specific triggers. Here's the surprising insight, the kind that changes everything once you truly grasp it. Your financial weak spots are often directly linked to your emotional blind spots. It's a clear cause and effect principle. You think you have a spending problem, but the root cause might be a stress management problem, a loneliness problem, or a self-worth problem manifesting through money. It's like trying to build a sturdy wall, your finances, but ignoring the crumbling foundation, your unexamined emotions. The weak spot isn't the bricklaying, it's the ground you're building on. Understanding when you are most vulnerable because of how you feel allows you to build your defenses before the trigger even happens. You're not just reacting, you're anticipating, creating a plan for the emotional storm before it hits. So, what's the clear action here? How do you put this awareness into practice? How do you start identifying your specific triggers? Try this for a week. Keep a simple trigger log. This isn't complicated or time-consuming. Just a quick note on your phone, a small notebook dedicated to this, or a simple spreadsheet, whatever is easiest for you to stick with. For every time you feel a strong urge to spend impulsively, avoid looking at your money apps or make a quick, non-essential purchase. Just note 3 things. 1. What was the trigger? E.g., got email about a sale on shoes, saw friends' amazing vacation pics on Instagram, had a tough conversation with my boss, felt bored scrolling my phone. 2. What emotion were you feeling right before or during that urge? Got stressed, bored, excited, anxious, feeling inadequate, genuinely happy. 3. What was the urge or action? A. Buy those specific shoes. Look up flights for a last-minute trip I can't afford. Order expensive takeout I didn't plan for. Close the banking app quickly. Commit to this simple log for just 7 days. Be honest with yourself. No one else has to see it. You might be genuinely shocked by what you uncover. You will start to see patterns, recurring situations, emotions, and resulting actions. Patterns that were invisible before, hidden in the blur of daily life and subconscious reaction. This one habit, this simple act of tracking your emotional financial impulses, changed everything for me in understanding my own spending weaknesses. It's not about judging yourself or feeling guilty. It's about gathering data to build a better, more resilient future self. Like tracking your food intake in a fitness plan to see where your diet is off. You're tracking your emotional financial habits to see where your mindset is creating weak spots. This awareness is the absolutely essential first step towards truly controlling your money, instead of letting your emotions control your money decisions. Okay, once you've started identifying those financial triggers, the real work begins. Because knowing why you feel an urge is only half the battle. The next absolutely critical step is creating a space between that emotional surge and the financial action you feel compelled to take. Think of it like building a buffer zone, a tiny sanctuary in your mind where impulse doesn't rule. This space isn't just downtime, it's strategic. It's where you insert conscious thought, where you get to override the default, emotionally driven response with a deliberate choice that actually serves you. Most people live on financial autopilot, reacting instantly because it feels right in the moment. The trigger fires, the emotion flares, and boom, the money is spent, or the opportunity is missed, or the risky move is made. Creating space is about interrupting that chain reaction. You recognize the emotion. Okay, I feel incredibly anxious and I really want to buy something expensive right now. And then you consciously choose not to act on that immediate impulse. It's not about suppressing the emotion. It's about decoupling it from your wallet. Consider the beginner who's just trying to get by. Friends suggest an expensive weekend trip. The immediate emotional response might be shame or FOMO. I can't say no. They'll think I'm broke. Their default action? Automatically agreeing, even if it means wrecking their budget for the month. Creating space looks like this. They feel the pressure, the fear of missing out, maybe a knot in their stomach. Instead of instantly saying yes, they pause. They breathe. Let me just check my budget real quick before I commit. That simple sentence, that moment of hesitation, is the space. It allows them to access logic, not just emotion. Then there's the growing earner, feeling the weight of responsibility. A stressful day at work, a tough conversation. The emotional urge? Stress shopping online. A quick hit of dopamine from clicking Add to Cart. Their default might be scrolling endlessly, filling up virtual carts. The space for them is recognizing, okay, I am feeling completely drained and overwhelmed right now. My impulse is to buy something shiny. What else could I do that would actually help me feel better, or at least not put me back financially? It's choosing a walk over retail therapy, or calling a friend instead of maxing out a card. It's recognizing the need. Stress relief is real, but the solution, spending money, is often misalignment. And finally, the ambitious builder, perhaps feeling a rush of excitement over a seemingly can't-lose investment opportunity pitched by a friend. The emotional trigger is greed, excitement, the thrill of potential rapid growth. The default action? Jumping in head first without due diligence. Creating space means pausing that surge of enthusiasm. Whoa, okay, that sounds amazing. My heart is racing. Before I commit, let me run the numbers again. Let me get a second opinion from someone who isn't emotionally invested. It's about letting the excitement settle just enough to allow rational analysis to catch up. Here's the surprising insight, the real power move. You are not your emotions. This isn't some fluffy self-help platitude. It's a profound truth about your own control center. You feel emotions, stress, excitement, fear, envy. These are natural biological and psychological responses. But you do not have to act on every single one, especially when those actions directly impact your long-term financial well-being. That pause you insert, that moment of conscious deliberation, that is where your power resides. It's the difference between being swept away by a current and choosing which direction you want to swim. So the clear action, the practical tool to build this muscle? Practice the 6-breath pause. It sounds almost too simple, right? But its effectiveness lies in its ability to physically interrupt the stress response and create that crucial mental gap. The next time you feel a strong financial emotion bubbling up, whether it's the urge to spend, the fear of investing, the anxiety about your balance, stop. Physically stop what you are doing if you can. Close your eyes for a moment. Take 6 slow, deep breaths. Inhale deeply, hold for a second, exhale slowly. Focus only on your breath. In that brief, deliberate pause, you've given your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, a chance to catch up to the amygdala, the emotional core, screaming for immediate action. In that quiet space created by the breaths, ask yourself, is this action I feel compelled to take truly aligned with my long-term goals? Is spending this money right now, or avoiding that financial conversation, going to get me closer to where I want to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years? Ask, what would the financially responsible, calm, future-focused version of me do in this exact situation? Try this for a week. Just practice the pause. You'll be amazed at how much clarity can emerge in just 6 breaths. Relying purely on willpower to override your emotions when it comes to money is frankly exhausting. Think about it. You have a long day, you're feeling stressed, maybe a little bored, and suddenly that online shopping cart or that impulse purchase looks incredibly appealing. Your logical brain knows better, but your emotional brain is screaming for instant gratification. And more often than not, in the moment, emotion wins. Willpower is like a muscle. It tires out, especially when you're already depleted. It's simply not a sustainable strategy for consistent financial growth. This is precisely where building smart financial systems becomes not just helpful, but essential. A system works fundamentally differently than willpower. Instead of fighting your emotions in the moment, you make the logical, strategic decision once, when you're calm and clear-headed. Then you set up an automated process that executes that decision for you, automatically, regardless of your moment-to-moment emotional state. It bypasses the internal battle entirely. It's like deciding you want to run every morning and then setting out your running clothes the night before, right by the bed, with a timer on the coffee maker. You set up the environment for success, making the actual action less dependent on a burst of morning motivation you might not have. This isn't advanced finance, it's a cornerstone of smart financial behavior for any income level. For the beginner just starting their financial journey, building a system might look incredibly simple. It could be setting up an automatic transfer of just $10 or $20 from your checking account to a separate savings account every payday. It's not about the amount initially, it's about building the habit, the system. For the growing earner, seeing their income rise, systems become crucial for handling increased complexity. Automating bill payments so you never miss a due date and incur fees, or setting up automatic investment contributions into your retirement or brokerage accounts before you even have a chance to spend the money. It's the financial equivalent of putting your healthy snacks in plain sight and the junk food on a high shelf. You're structuring your environment for good choices. For the ambitious builder, maybe running a side hustle or a small business, robust systems mean setting up clear business expense tracking software from day one and automating a percentage of income into a separate tax savings account. It removes the future panic and ensures compliance without relying on you remembering to manually squirrel away funds every time money comes in. Here's the surprising insight that many people miss. Good systems don't restrict you. They free you. You might feel like automation takes away control, but it's the opposite. By handling the routine, important tasks without requiring your conscious effort, systems remove the need for constant, willpower-draining decisions. This is particularly powerful in moments of emotional vulnerability, after a tough day, during a stressful period, or even during moments of celebratory impulsivity. The system acts as a quiet, dependable guardian, protecting you from your own potential self-sabotage. They ensure you're moving towards your goals even when you're not feeling particularly disciplined or motivated. Think about trying to cook a complex meal from scratch every night versus having a few go-to, easy-to-prepare, healthy recipes you've systematized. One is exhausting and prone to failure when you're tired. The other ensures you eat well consistently. So, the clear action step here is powerful because of its simplicity. Identify one financial action you know you should be doing consistently, but often fail at. Maybe it's saving, maybe it's investing a little bit, maybe it's making an extra payment on a debt. Whatever it is, find a way to automate it this week, even a tiny amount. Set it and forget it. This isn't just theory. This one habit of building automated systems changed everything for me in creating financial momentum. It's about making your default behavior a smart behavior, removing emotion from the equation entirely for that specific task. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistently good, powered by smart design, not sheer grit. All right, we've talked about building powerful financial habits, crafting strategies that align with your goals, and even optimizing your income streams. But let's get real for a second. The journey to financial mastery, or any significant personal growth, isn't a perfectly straight line, drawn with a ruler by a robot. It's more like navigating a winding path, with a few unexpected puddles and maybe a rogue banana peel. This brings us to the inevitable. You are going to slip up. It's not a possibility. It's a guarantee. You might have an emotional spending moment that makes you cringe later. You could avoid looking at your finances for a day, 2, maybe even 3, just because it feels overwhelming. You might feel that familiar sting of comparison rear its head again after thinking you'd finally squashed it. Maybe you're just starting out, and you blew your small savings buffer on an impulse purchase that seemed like a good idea for about 5 minutes. Or you're a growing earner, feeling good, and splurged on something expensive you thought you could afford, but realized afterwards tightened things too much. Even the ambitious builder, laser-focused on growth, might make a hasty, emotionally charged business decision that cost them significant time or money. Here's a surprising truth. This is not failure. I repeat, it is not failure. This is part of the process. Thinking you'll never make a financial mistake is like expecting to learn to cook without ever burning toast. It's unrealistic and sets you up for disappointment. Financial mastery, especially the deep work involved in shifting your emotional relationship with money, isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent and developing the skill of getting back on track quickly. It's about resilience. Busting the myth that you need to be flawless is perhaps one of the most freeing insights on this journey. You're human, not a blockchain ledger. Beating yourself up with shame or guilt after a slip-up feels natural, almost automatic for many people. It's the inner critic going into overdrive. But shame and guilt are just another set of negative emotions that don't do anything helpful. They just hinder progress. They keep you stuck in the mud, replaying the mistake instead of learning from it and moving on. It's like tripping while running a marathon and deciding the race is over because your shoelace came undone. The surprising insight? Setbacks are inevitable data points, not destiny. They are information telling you something about your triggers, your emotional state, or your blind spots. How you respond to a setback is monumentally more important than the setback itself. Shame keeps you stuck and paralyzed, while self-compassion and a return to action move you forward, stronger and wiser. So what's the clear action when you inevitably slip? The moment you catch yourself, or even hours or days later, acknowledge it without excessive judgment. Avoid the spiraling self-criticism. Think of it like reviewing game tape, not like being on trial. Ask yourself, what emotion was I feeling leading up to this? What specifically triggered it? What can I learn from this situation to navigate it differently next time? These questions turn a failure into a lesson. Then, and this is crucial, immediately do one small positive financial action. This breaks the cycle of avoidance or paralysis. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be as simple as checking your bank balance, tracking just one expense in your budget app, reading one paragraph from a finance book, or setting a tiny savings goal for the next few days. This isn't about fixing everything at once. It's about re-engaging. It's about proving to yourself that one slip doesn't define you or stop your progress. Get back on the horse, even if it's just a pony ride around the block. This one habit, the immediate, small, positive action after acknowledging a slip, changed everything for me. It transformed mistakes from roadblocks into mere speed bumps. Try this for a week. The very next time you experience a financial slip-up, big or small, pause. Acknowledge it calmly. Ask the 3 learning questions: emotion, trigger, lesson. Then, within the next hour if possible, take one single, small, positive financial step. See how quickly you can pivot from regret to action. This isn't about being perfect. It's about building your recovery muscle. Managing the emotional side of your money? Yeah, That's not a one-time miracle cure you find under your pillow. It's less like flipping a switch and more like hitting the gym. Think of it as building a muscle, your financial self-control muscle. Just like lifting weights or going for runs gets easier the more you do it, managing your money emotions strengthens with practice. The more consistently you practice observing your emotions around spending or investing, the more you create space between feeling and acting, and the more you lean on your pre-built systems, like automatic transfers or budgeted spending limits, the stronger this muscle becomes. You'll find it gets genuinely easier to pause before an impulse purchase. It gets easier to recognize the triggers that send you spiraling into anxiety or reckless optimism. And crucially, it gets easier to simply let your systems do the heavy lifting, rather than relying solely on willpower, which is notoriously unreliable. This journey absolutely demands patience with yourself. There will be slip-ups, just like missing a workout, but the key is consistent, even tiny effort. It's about showing up day after day, week after week. What does this consistency look like in practice? It varies depending on where you are on your financial path. For the beginner just starting out, consistency might mean simply checking their bank balance daily for a week, just to build awareness, and committing to saving a tiny, maybe even slightly embarrassing, $5 a week. It's about building the habit of engaging. For the growing earner who's got more income and complexity, consistency looks like reviewing their budget weekly to stay on track and religiously funding their retirement accounts every payday, even when other shiny objects tempt them. For the ambitious builder, someone already accumulating significant wealth, consistency means regularly sitting down to review financial statements with a clear, unemotional head and sticking to their predefined investment criteria even when market volatility triggers anxiety or irrational exuberance makes them overconfident. And here's the surprising insight. The counterintuitive truth many people miss because they're chasing financial fireworks. These small, consistent actions, driven by self-awareness and supported by reliable systems, compound into massive financial results over time. Far more massive, in fact, than sporadic, emotionally charged efforts, like that one time you paid off a chunk of debt with a bonus, but then went right back to old habits, or the impulsive all-in investment that kept you up all night. Your emotional intelligence around money isn't a fixed trait you're born with. It's a skill you develop, one consistent step at a time. This one simple realization changed everything for me. That showing up consistently for the boring stuff is where the real magic happens. The clear action right now? Think about the actions we've touched on today. Checking your balance, tracking emotional triggers, practicing that 6-breath pause before reacting, or automating your savings. Pick the one that feels most challenging, maybe even a little uncomfortable, but also most important for you right now. Your challenge, should you choose to accept it, and you should, is to commit to practicing that single action daily for the next 7 days. Non-negotiable. Just 7 days to start building that muscle. Mastering your money isn't just about crunching numbers. It's a deeply emotional journey. We've explored various facets of personal finance, but here's the core principle that ties it all together. Your financial reality is profoundly intertwined with your emotional world. Think of your emotions as the unseen currents in the river of your finances. Your fears about scarcity, your desires for comfort, your insecurities about comparison, your reactions to market ups and downs, They are constantly influencing your money decisions, often without you even realizing it. People often underestimate the sheer power of feeling. They operate under the myth that all you need is more income or a better budget spreadsheet, like thinking you just need a better map without considering if you're too scared to leave the starting line. While crucial, those tools are frequently sabotaged by unchecked emotions. It's like having a detailed workout plan, but being too anxious to go to the gym. The truth, the often uncomfortable truth, is that lasting financial change, real freedom, genuine security, sustainable growth begins with understanding and managing the feelings that drive your behavior around money. This isn't fluffy self-help. It's practical behavioral science applied directly to your wallet. What happens if you ignore this fundamental lesson? You stay stuck in the cycle, plain and simple. It doesn't matter how much you earn. You'll consistently feel like money is controlling you, not the other way around. You'll continue making impulsive decisions driven by stress or excitement, avoiding crucial tasks like tracking spending or opening investment accounts because they feel overwhelming, comparing yourself constantly to others on social media and feeling inadequate, and living with a constant, low-grade undercurrent of financial anxiety. You might get that big raise, but lifestyle creep and emotional spending will eat it up faster than a free buffet. You might manage to save a bit, but fear of losing money or impatience will stop you from investing wisely, leaving that cash vulnerable to inflation. The constant internal battle, the should I versus the I feel like, will drain your energy and severely limit your potential. Whether you're trying to save your first $1,000, pay off a mountain of debt, or build significant, lasting wealth, it's an exhausting way to live, always feeling like you're fighting yourself. Mastering your money isn't about becoming a financial robot or some kind of emotionless investing machine. Far from it. It's about building essential skills, much like building physical strength or learning an instrument. It's about building awareness, learning to recognize the emotion as it arises. Ah, I feel stressed, and that's why I suddenly want to scroll Amazon. It's about creating space, inserting a deliberate pause, even just for 60 seconds, between feeling and acting. It's about building systems, automating smart decisions, like savings transfers or bill payments, so that impulsive emotions don't even get a chance to interfere in the moment. And perhaps most importantly, it's about practice and patience, accepting that you'll have setbacks, you'll make mistakes, but the key is getting back on track without self-recrimination. This is how truly successful people build wealth. It's not just by earning more, it's fundamentally by controlling their financial behavior, which is dictated by their emotional landscape. It's the difference between trying to swim upstream in an emotional current and learning to navigate with the flow. Ready to finally take control and step out of the emotional money trap? Here is your single, clear, doable step to implement today. Set a recurring daily alarm on your phone for the next 7 days. When it goes off, open your primary banking app and look at your balance. That's it. Seriously. No judgment, no complex calculations, no planning session needed right then. Just the simple, powerful act of facing your financial reality head-on. This isn't about the number itself right now. It's about creating awareness and chipping away at the avoidance trap that emotions build. This tiny action builds the crucial muscle of confronting your money reality, which is the absolute first step to mastering the emotional game and entering your true financial flow zone. Try this for a week. Just look. Notice how you feel. This one simple habit can change everything by starting to untangle your emotions from the numbers. This journey of financial growth, at its heart, is a journey of self-awareness and self-mastery. The money is simply the mirror reflecting your inner landscape. The one big takeaway is clear. Your feelings about money are not just side notes. They are the main drivers of your financial destiny. The potential long-term benefit if you embrace this? A life where money is a tool that serves you, rather than a source of constant stress and reactivity. It's a deeper insight that building wealth isn't just about accumulation. It's about creating internal peace and confidence around your financial life. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around.